What setbacks have you faced in your career and how have you coped with them?
The main setback I'd say I've faced in my career is probably last year having all this progression with the first team, playing with experienced players, and then going back down with the 18s. Yes, I took a lot of that information from the players down to the 18s, but my progression was limited because I wasn't with these players every single day, so I wasn't able to learn off them as much. And yeah.
So at the minute I've got concussion, so I'm not allowed to train or do anything with the lads, which is quite hard. But I've been developing my relationships with the first team and analysing my game to see where I can improve for when I come back.
Building yourself back up physically and mentally too after all the hard work you put in. How do you go about that, and how would you suggest and maybe help other players that maybe go through a similar sort of process?
I think mainly just talking to the physios helps a lot because they know exactly what you need to do to get there. And I think talking to people as well as the physios and your teammates, it just helps because you want to try and stay in with the team, because even though you're not in it on the pitch, you want to be involved still. So I think just talking to people is the best thing.
I think in my first year I wasn't playing as much as I wanted to, and I was just pushing other people to perform. I think when I was coming off the bench, I was making an impact, and I feel like I was making coaches have to think about their choices. But I had to bring this when I went out on loan a couple of weeks ago. I had to start with this. I wasn't starting a couple of games, and I just had to make sure I had the impact off the bench still.
So constantly thinking about the team and about your players and how you can positively impact the game. Is that something that you would suggest to other players?
Yeah, 100%. I'd say being on the bench is, obviously no one wants to be on the bench to start with, but you've got to know how to learn and adapt with it, and then take what you know of the game from watching the first half and just put yourself on the pitch of what you would do and make sure that you're doing everything that you want to do to help the team out.
I didn't have any international clearance as soon as I moved to MK Dons, so I couldn't play for a while, but how I dealt with it was playing with the 16s, just making an impact, so when I come back to the Under-18s I can try to get my position in the team.
It's a unique setback that you faced, but I know many players in their careers will probably face the same sort of issues. What would you suggest or advise to them?
Patience is the main thing, I think. It's like you need to have patience, resilience, that's sort of it, just to keep on track, because it's a big thing you have to face in your career, obviously because you're missing out playing and you're missing out on chances, but you just need to take the chance when you get it, I think, and that's the best sort of advice I would have.
I think a setback that I and probably many other players have faced is just having a bad spell of games. Whether that's at the start, middle or end of the season, I think it can really ruin a player's confidence, and I think you just have to push through it.
As you touched on there, the confidence, the mental side of the game is a very big thing nowadays, especially. So how do you go about rebuilding yourself from that tough time, and what would you suggest to other players going through a similar sort of thing?
I think just trust the coaches, ask them loads of questions, and just keep doing what you're doing as long as it's the right thing. If you're working hard in training, you're doing the right things away from the club, then you just have to stick through it, keep believing, and your form will turn around.
What would you suggest to players that maybe are going through a similar sort of process, or maybe have gone through a similar process as yourself?
I'd just say, don't give up. If that's still your dream and you've experienced that setback, just don't give up. Just go out, find somewhere where you can have a little bit of fun with friends. Still take it a bit serious, but just go out, have a bit of fun. And when you get back into the rhythm, you're feeling like yourself again, then just go out and play a game.
It takes a strong character to obviously go through those setbacks and then bounce back even stronger. What would you suggest to other players that maybe to build that character or to build that strength to keep on persevering, as you said, and keep on fighting and battling for what you believe in?
I'd just say you just have to find a reason as to why you're doing it and enjoy it, because for me it was just I wanted to make everyone proud and fulfill what I thought I could, and for me that just made me enjoy it more, made me more driven to complete what I wanted to do.
A setback I faced is when I was let go from a previous club. I wasn't signed there or anything, I was on trial though for 8 weeks, and it was my first trial at a pro club, so it was a big thing for me at the time, but they let me go, and it was tough for me because I thought I really had a chance to sign there, but I had to be resilient, I had to believe in myself, and eventually I got to where I wanted to be, so it was good in the end.
And how did that impact your football at the time, and maybe your your love for the game at the time and to progress you to where you are now and to bounce back again and to be resilient, as you said, to get to this point here today?
I think it boosted my love for the game even more. I think because even though it was a tough situation, I was determined to prove to myself that I could get to that level. And even though I had to maybe step down a level again, go back to grassroots for a bit, it wasn't a problem for me. I just wanted to keep working hard and get signed at a club. So.
A setback that I went through is being let go from a club that I was at like 6 years, been there since under-9s to under-14s, and after that I went on a few trials at clubs and got told no, but I faced it by persevering, never giving up. If one person or one club says no, then another club might say yes. Football's a game of opinions, but I faced it well and I persevered, and obviously I got to where I wanted to be.
How has that impacted your football, and what would you suggest to other players going through a similar thing on how to, keep resilient, keep tough and keep persevering?
I feel like you just have to go about it every day in training and work your hardest, and then when it comes to the end of the week and let's say you don't get selected to start, at least you know yourself that you've tried your best to. That kind of takes away the feeling of not giving your best.
A setback that I faced was I was on trial at Brentford and I felt like I did enough to get signed, and when I got the news that I didn't get signed.
What would you suggest to other players going through a similar sort of process?
I suggest just keep your head up, because I feel like football's a lot of opinions, so even though one team might not want you, another team might be looking for something like you, so I'd just say keep going. Yeah.
At the start of the season, I was faced with a fever that meant I couldn't do contact sports for about 8 weeks, which was very frustrating because just finished pre-season, ready to start the season, and just like that I'm out for another 8 weeks, setting my progress back. I would say that look at it not as an injury, look at it more as a way to improve on things that you maybe not have been able to do while you were playing, like, I don't know, if you want to put more muscle on or things like that, just look at it as an opportunity rather than missing out.
Well, in my under-16 career, I broke my ankle and I was out for 8 months. So I found it hard, especially at the start as well, because I didn't know really what to do, because I was obsessed with football all my life, and then I had to stop for 8 months. So it was a hard moment to me.
And what do you suggest to players that may be going for a similar sort of setback as yourself?
I'm saying that they should actually talk to someone if they ever need it, because some people don't know how to handle stuff by themselves, so sometimes you might need someone to help you out in life. So I'm saying you speak to someone, talk about it, and then try resolve it and try get better later down the line.
That's the problem with injuries. It's not just obviously the physical aspect of it, it's obviously the mental challenges that you face alongside it. How do you go about coping with that, and what would you suggest to other players going through a similar thing?
Try to stay in the game, I'd say. Turn up to matches, so you're still obviously a part of the team and everything. Also distract yourself, so you're not always focusing on your injury, because it can get you quite down at times, so you focus on any other hobbies you enjoy.
What's a setback that you've faced in your career so far?
My old club's academy folding.
So how did you, obviously that's a very serious setback to face, how did that impact your football? Obviously you probably wasn't as playing as much as you wanted to, you was probably wondering what your next step was. How did you go from that stage to get to where you are now?
I feel like the main thing for me was just having faith in God, praying every day, having belief in myself as well, and just pushing through. And then thank God that I'm now signed at Dons.
And how did you go about bouncing back to that, to where you are now?
Well, I mean, from when I wasn't off the scholar to the end of the season, I was injured, so I couldn't do much, to be fair. So I just kind of take my mind away from football, because if you carry on thinking about it, it just eats you up and you get more and more upset about it. So you just have to, yeah.
The biggest setback I think I faced is with this injury I'm currently recovering from.
That's the thing with long-term injuries, it doesn't weigh down on you physically, it also weighs on your mental well-being as well. What would you suggest to players that may go through a similar process, and how did you personally bounce back from it and keep on persevering?
I think it's difficult on different days, so I'll just tell the person to take each day as it comes and just try and stay present throughout the injury, regardless of the setbacks, the good bits, just stay present.
And the benefits of still being in and around a team that, again, mentally that must really positively impact you.
Yeah, I think just watching them play and just knowing I can be there soon, I will be there soon, I think just motivates me every day just to get to the goal quicker.
Yeah, so I'm obviously going through a big setback in my life right now. I've been injured since the first week of pre-season. I first had to come out with a hip injury, then recovered all well from that, came back, and then the day after came out with my back again. So I had to go through a bit of rehab, about a month and a half of rehab, and then literally last week or so I found out that I fractured my back. So yeah, it's a bit of a tough situation right now, but I'm trying to cope.
No, exactly. It's so unfortunate to hear, and obviously the mental sort of toughness you have to take to keep on persevering, keep on battling through it is incredible. What would you suggest to other players that may be going through a similar process to yourself, and what can they do to be like yourself and keep on battling and, you know, be as strong as you are?
Yeah, I'd say definitely find things to pass the time, because when you're injured you can't eat away at your thoughts a little bit. So I've been trying to do things like get ahead on my college work, analyse clips from last season just to improve the theory side of my game, spend time with my family. So yeah, just find things to pass the time.
As you said, an injury that you suffered, so physically, but also it would weigh on you mentally as well. How did you go about bouncing back from that?
Yeah, I just thought that I had to just keep going, and it was an unfortunate position that I was in. So just keep working and another opportunity will come.
And what's a coping mechanism that you'd suggest to other players that could go through a similar process to yourself?
Just to know, just like keep on going, keep strong, and then just to see the injury you got, like work on it to try and like not make it happen again.